What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is presented by All County Exteriors. Discover the excellence of All County Exteriors, a third-generation leader in premier exterior home remodeling, proudly celebrating over 40 years of success. While most remodeling companies last just 5 years, All County Exteriors has withstood the test of time, consistently delivering top-quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Their expertise extends from small repairs to large additions, serving homeowners and builders alike. More than just a construction company, All County Exteriors is deeply committed to community service, proudly supporting organizations such as the Make-A-Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call the experts at All County Exteriors for a free, no-obligation estimate for your project. Just call 732-370-2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732-370-2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing. It's already stayed. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Kulat.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back. Episode 106 this week. It's October 15th when you're listening to us. Smack in the middle of fall. I mean, it is fall weather. It is gorgeous out. We're going to talk to you about some golf Mike and I played today, and boy, it just hits so good this time of year. It really does. I'm very excited for this episode, Mike. I know you are too. We got some big things coming, but before we get into those, let's jump into our weekly schedule real quick. Yesterday, Monday the 13th, happy Columbus Day to those, Indigenous Peoples Day to those that were, that were able to enjoy it. Mike played Jasna Polana, which you're going to see a trend this week here. Mike recorded the fourth hole, the par 4, 16th hole, at Jasna Polana, TPC Jasna Polana out in Princeton. Kind of this course, and obviously it's our title for today's episode. We got to play it. We're going to talk so much about it today, but it's kind of this course that people really haven't heard of, or it's got this mystique to it that we're going to try to get across to you today. But Mike was able to record the 16th hole. Really beautiful par 4, water. The only water on the course is there, so I'll just leave that there for you. Let's see if maybe something comes of it. And there, you got that yesterday. Go to Instagram, go to YouTube. That came out yesterday. Go see how Mike did yesterday. Today, Tuesday, episode 106. Go over to YouTube. Go check out our video version. You got Mike and I here. You also got us on Spotify, everywhere you get podcasts, like we always say. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 16th, I take on Jasna Polana's 18th hole. Now, there's a reason why I took on the 18th hole. It's a par 5, and as I've said, I try to actively do more longer holes because shorter holes are easy, and I'm trying to keep a par 36 on my scorecard there. But the finishing has the clubhouse / mansion in the background behind the hole, so that's kind of why it's a beautiful, really a stunningly beautiful finishing hole. It's really one of those holes where you wouldn't want to leave it. It's a high risk, high reward 2-shot par 5. You can lay up if you want to. You have a nice shot into the green, or you can try going over some water if you really pump it out there. So I took on Jasna Polana's par 5 18th hole. That's tomorrow. Check it out on Instagram. Check it out on YouTube. Thursday this week, our interview with PGA golf professional Jared Ramnith at Jasna Polana. And we're going to get into this as well, but we stayed in just the coolest room possible to do this interview. They call it the dog room. It's where the dogs of the house lived. It's this circular room. It might be the best view on property, quite frankly, out of a property that's got a lot of great views. So we did our interview with Jared there, and even afterwards, Jared was like, "I've been here 6 years. I've never been in this room before." So that was really cool. And then Friday, we got a big announcement. Our Freaky Fun Friday. We are going to drop a video for you guys. We are putting that video out at noon, Mike. At noon on Friday. That's all we're going to say about it. You're going to want to watch the video. You're going to want to see what's happening. You're going to need to know. But that video is coming out Friday at noon. Go check it out on YouTube. Go check out the Instagram. Go check it out on all of our stuff there. But Friday at noon, stay tuned. Mike, before we get into Jasna, which we've got to talk, quite a lot about today for sure, and we got to get into our professionals. You've been teasing us with this store. Where are we with the store?
We are live.
Let's go.
Today is officially day one of our merchandise being able to be bought at any time, shipped immediately to your front door, with you having the ability to wear things just like you and I do each and every week here on the show. So all they need to do is, here is the website. I know this may seem rather long and not the best audio. So if they went to our Instagram account at @the_drop_pod, they would see the link. They could go click on the link. They can go see everything there. It'll be on Twitter. It'll be on Instagram. So there's avenues that they can go to. But if they're looking for the actual link itself, it's called shorepromotions.com/the-drop. From there, they'll be able to get right to the store, have no issues, and kind of shop away. So,
Mike, I assume it's Shore, like SHORE, not
correct.
SURE, right?
Yep, correct. Yep. And they'll be able to go shop around. So we got 2 different T-shirts on there. We got a hoodie on there in a two different colors. We got our hat up on there, a nice little trucker hat. Mm-hmm. So like I said last week, we're kind of putting this out in phases. This is phase 1 of this, project to see how much we can push and how much people want and how much people will wear. Obviously, I mentioned the prices are as cheap as that we could make them. $20 for a T-shirt, $30 for a hoodie, and $15 for a hat. Like, I don't know where else you're going to find that without sacrificing extreme quality in a product. And it's going to be shipped right to your door. You can order at any time. It's not a pre-order. It's not like it's only open for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. It's open. So go check it out. The one caveat I will say is this. Some of the tees run more fitted, okay? And I want to preface this now because the logo and the artwork is going to be on everything when you buy it, which means there's no returns. So you can't buy the medium with the logo on and be like, you know what, it doesn't fit me. I'm going to send it back, get a full refund, and go get a large. It doesn't work that way. So I want to say this. I wear a medium basically every single piece of clothing I have. But even for me, it's a little fitted. A little, I probably have no problem wearing a medium. But if you want it looser, which come the winter time, we all kind of bulk up a little bit. It's eating season. You got Thanksgiving. You got Christmas right around the corner. We all throw in the extra LBs at that time.
Yep. It's soup season.
And it's cold.
Yeah.
So you might want something that's a little looser fitting. You got layers. So I probably will be going large in all the things that I order. So I think that's a preface for smaller dudes like myself. If you like the fitted look, then listen, the medium will work quite fine. But if you want something looser, I highly recommend you go one size up because it may shrink a little bit as well.
Yeah, it's a great point, Mike. And I'm glad that we got to test it before because I also agree it's you're a medium. I'm a bigger than medium, so I had to go a bigger than medium, and it's I think that's what you need to do. You think about how you want it to feel. I'm a guy that likes it loose. I like things baggy, like think late 90s, early 2000s and one mix tour, kind of loose. For those that don't know what I'm talking about, go give that a Google. you're gonna see. But like I like things that are looser. Obviously, I'm a bigger guy, so it I don't want something suction cupping my body. So I'm gonna size up as well. I think that you need to. But that's really the only caveat is that I would worry as a bigger guy about getting a size that fits now, and then you put it in the wash and it shrinks just a little bit, and now it's going to be that too tight. So I would worry about for me personally, I'd rather go up a size, have it be a little baggier, and then over time shrink to fit kind of thing. So just keep that in mind as you're ordering things, because unlike our polo order, we can't return these.
Right. So, and the nice thing is we're trying to make sure we get that point across that go up a size. You won't be disappointed. Don't go up. Error on the side of caution. You got 2 T-shirts on there. Both have different logos. You got our circle logo. You got our likes and plate logo. You got those 2 on the front. All the artwork on the back is the same, where it says where we talk golfing in the Garden State. So it's nice. It's fresh. It's affordable. And I can't wait to see it out there.
And can I tell you, I've been talking, obviously, and I'm not wearing a hat right now. I have a great hair day, that's why. So I decided not to wear the hat. But I have been pressing for a hat between Mike and I for how long? How long, Mike, have I been pushing for this hat?
Too long.
Too long, right? And I just want something, right? It doesn't, this is a trucker hat. It's our first iteration. We're going to get more eventually. That's the goal, right? This is the first step. I like the hat. I'm excited about the hat. I can't wait to wear the hat. I'm very, very excited for that.
And you got 2 colors in the hat. You got navy and you got black.
Right.
So you got a little bit of a mixture.
And there is a little surprise in there when you order the gear. You get the package, you get a surprise. We'll leave it at that. Let's talk our professional updates real quick. On the PGA Tour, the Black Desert Championship, Ryan McCormick had to withdraw after the second round. Basic wrist injury, Mike. I don't have any other information. Just had a wrist.
Yeah. So listen, in the middle of
that in sports too. He had an ankle, he had a wrist, he had a hammy, he had everyone's got one of those. But it's
listen. I will say this: he shot even par after the first round, and he was right on the borderline of making the cut. So I figured, let me go check on Tuesday, on Friday, to see kind of where he was at. He was 3 under after his first 9 holes, and he's now inside the cut line. And I'm like, all right, this dude's going to make the cut. Later Friday night, I go to check to see where he finishes, and it says at the bottom, WD. And I'm like, what the hell happened? He was 3 under at the turn. Well, he ended up making an 8 on his 11th hole of the day, a par 4, makes a quad.
Oof.
And then WDs after that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden, I'm like, all right, something's up, because Ryan's not a quitter. He doesn't WD ever. He may miss cuts, sure, but he's not going to go down without a fight.
Yeah.
And I
gotta love that about him. I love that. Yeah.
And I did some digging, and it said WD wrist injury. So I don't have any other updates. He's in the field this week at the Shriners. I don't know if he's playing. That may come to fruition either way on Thursday, if he's there or not. But he's listed in the field as playing.
Well, as we talked about, he's got to play. So hopefully that he, whether it was a wrist sprain or, hopefully not something more, but he's, I'm sure he's signed up for every tournament this fall, right? He's got to be in them. So
yeah, I think this is number 4 or 5 on the fall PGA Tour schedule. Like, there's only a couple more events after this, mm-hmm. and a guy like Ryan is still fighting for his life. So I'm hoping that it's not an injury that derails him for having an opportunity to keep in his card.
Absolutely. So, but kind of staying on the Shriners Children's Open for this week. Max is also in it, and Chris is also in it. So we got our Jersey guys in the field. I think we updated this last week, but John Pack got his tour card. Really cool to see that. The Korn Ferry Tour season is over now. So we got John in. Harry got in, but we already knew that. So a couple, a couple Jersey Connect guys moving on to the tour next year. So we got some more that we're going to keep updating for as we get into next year. There is one other one, Mike, on here that I did want to mention. We haven't mentioned him in a while. Do you know Jack's schedule yet?
Not they won't. The second round of the DP World Tour won't start until the end of
Was
October.
Oh,
But
okay.
he
It was the
also
end
made
of
it.
October.
The end of October, first week in November, and then he also he got through the first stage or pre-qualifying for the qualifying school for the PGA Tour. So all that is in motion
Yeah,
throughout this winter time, and as updates come my way, obviously I'll definitely pass them along.
absolutely. It was. I'm obviously hoping for him the best, but I couldn't remember when we had talked about him, how late in October he had to go, like wait for that second. We talked about him making the cut for the qualifier, and then when exactly the qualifier was. So we'll be back with Jack there at some point. But Max, Chris, Rye in the field this week. Hopefully Ryan's doing all right, able to shake it off.
Are you looking for the perfect place to host the wedding of your dreams? Or maybe your company is looking to host an unforgettable holiday party with the beautiful backdrop of a golf course? Or just looking for a great spot for casual comfort food? Then you need to visit Galloping Hill Golf Course in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Conveniently located in Union County, right off exit 138 on the Garden State Parkway, Galloping Hill encompasses over more than 270 beautiful acres. Book your special day in their recently updated banquet space and enjoy the wonderful scenery on the golf course during your on site ceremony. You could also host your holiday party in the formal ballroom or in the casual setting of the Hill Tavern Bar and Grill, the gastro pub with seasonal food and beer options updated regularly. Their catering teams consistently win awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. Don't forget, golf never stops at Galloping Hill either. Open all year round. Go enjoy the course on those nice days in the winter and hang out in the tavern after your round. The fun never stops at Galloping Hill Golf Course.
All right, Mike. Let's get to the big points here. Yeah, our day at TPC Jasna Polana. Mike, I thought we should talk about this first. Do you want to talk about the history first? Like, let's talk about like us rolling into the gates to start. Like, let's
Well,
go stem to
even
stern.
let me start one step even before you. I got to make sure we thank
Okay.
the guys and the people that really made
Oh,
this happen for
absolutely.
us
Yeah.
because just like everything, and I know I say this all the time and it's probably on repeat, the amount of time and effort it takes for us to go back and forth with people to schedule things, to explain who we are and really what we're trying to highlight at their facility. Um, is a lot of work behind the scenes, and I can't thank Michael enough. I can't thank Heather enough. I can't thank Jared enough because really the Michael and Heather were the two that kind of spearheaded this whole thing with Michael and I kind of being the ones that were going back and forth explaining kind of like what the Drop Podcast does, who we are, what our goal is here. Um, and then going back and forth with Michael about like, hey, listen, this is what we're looking to do with TPC Jasna Polana. It is the only TPC course that we have here in New Jersey. And now that they're under new ownership, under the Concert Golf Management Group, and Michael being involved in that kind of opened up the door for us to get in. I think you'll hear you and I say this a lot. The allure of that place, the mystique about the whole thing. It is an unbelievable thing. And I don't think we can really start without making sure the three of them know how appreciative we are of them opening their doors to us for the entire day.
I Mike, you do the bulk work, the heavy lifting of that part of it, and you really did a great job. And so you interacted with those people a lot more. Um, but yes, a big thank you to Michael, to Heather, the general manager who we spent a lot of our day with. Quite frankly, she gave us a tour of the property, so to speak. We toured the golf course ourselves, but the grounds, the sculptures, she was super thorough. That was awesome to spend time with her. And then Jared to sit down with us, like I said in the beginning, in the dog room to tell us a little bit about his story, about the history of the course, about just stuff in general. And about Jasna Polana and what does it mean being a TPC and all that kind of stuff. So it was really, it was a special day. And we've had some special days in here. Right now, for me, that day is on the Mount Rushmore of special days for me. It really was, and I just, yeah, super thankful for them to allow us to come on, to to host us, to interact with us, to be as thorough as they were, was really very gracious of them, and so thank you so much to you guys. So now, Mike, I'm thinking we talk about the a little bit of the history of the place, kind of the things we went over with Heather. We came down the gate, and the first thing you take away is like, this was somebody's house. So if you don't know, the clubhouse at Jasna Polana is formally a house in the Johnson family. You guys probably know Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets. It's from that Johnson family. I believe they said it was his grandfather's, Mike.
Yeah, it was like maybe great grandfather. But
yeah, something like that. There's a lineage there, but the house, you'll see pictures. It ain't a house, but we're gonna call it a house. Is built in the 1970s. It looks like it's from the 12th century European castle, and it's in that Johnson, from the Johnson and Johnson family. So the first thing, if you know anything about it in that way, as you're driving down this driveway, you think that you're just on a road. Like it is that long and that windy, and you're on it for, you're not doing 35 miles an hour. You're doing but you're on it for 3 minutes, legitimately 3 or 4 minutes. Driving through the woods, you got a little of the golf course, and you got some more woods, then you see it. And as you turn and see the entrance again to this castle, it's got this big archway with the house behind it. Stunningly beautiful. It's literally like something out of a movie, a fantasy land. The pictures you see online, the stuff that we're going to post, I'm telling you, and how many times Mike, did I say this? It does not do it justice. The stuff that you've seen online, this is a place where I've kind of fantasized about for a long time. I've heard a lot about it. There's like my group chat with like this specific group of golf friends where like, that's a place where I want to get to. And I've obviously never been able to. There's a mystique about it, like we've mentioned. This is like a place that I want to get to, a mysterious place in New Jersey that I really want to make sure I get to. And it didn't disappoint. But it doesn't do it justice. You see the facade. I've seen it set up for weddings, beautiful with the lights and all that. And I'm telling you, rolling up to it and seeing it for the first time, it doesn't do it justice. It really doesn't. It was stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and to your point, it always comes up in conversation for you and I when TPC Sawgrass is hosting the Players. It's always like, man, we have one in New Jersey. I'd love to go see it. You hear about it. It's that spot. And then finally getting to that where I felt like the gates just like parted and the seas opened, and it was like, oh my God, this is no joke. Mm-hmm. This whole thing, the drive, the gate, mesmerizing.
Yeah. There's a slew of adjectives that you could keep using. Mesmerizing, stunning, breathtaking. It's all of those. And again, you can go look at pictures. Pictures are online. Google Jasna Polana and see. Go to the website, TPC Jasna Polana. You can see the pictures. I'm telling you right now, it doesn't do it justice when you drive up there, when you see it in person. It just hits different. It really, really does.
To think that place was built in the 1970s is what fascinated us the entire day. I think we kept going back like, this is not an 1800 building, or, you're really telling me this was built in 1970. Like, that's what was so unreal about the whole thing. And obviously Mrs. Johnson did an unreal job with all the architecture that influenced that house, and obviously she had her fingerprints on everything that went on. as much so to the rails of stairs
I was
going
just going
up
to
and
say.
down places. It was insane. It was
And,
truly, truly insane.
and even like, again, we spent a lot of time with Heather. She's been working there since the 90s. She knows everything about that place. So
Everything.
she's given us all the details. So like, Mike, even when we went outside and we saw where they play bocce, was it bocce, polo? It was some kind of ground. I think it was bocce. The whole, it's just beautiful. Like if there's a wedding going on, this is the patio, right? This is the cigar lounge outside. This is where people are mingling outside, right? The fence is a cast iron fence, wrought iron fence, whatever it might be, and it was hand beveled, hand molded. So Mrs. Johnson brings in people from Europe, has them live on property. Heather was like, some people lived here for 2 years working just on the property. It's all they did, worked on the property. So like some guy from I don't know, Italy or Germany or wherever in Europe,
Poland
comes over, hand bevels this cast iron and then goes home. It was so crazy to think about because the detail is so minute or fine, or it's just like, it's amazing. Like someone did this by hand. Like this looks like it was drawn on a computer and then just smashed, printed out, and like, okay, here's a piece of fence. It is so incredible. And there's so many things like that you're just blown away by the skill of someone to hand do this. The same thing with like, you were talking about like different statues and like the bathtub, one piece of marble. Someone carved out this bathtub for 18 people to fit in by hand, one piece of marble. And it's just like, that is so, it's so incredible. And it's literally the entire place is a lesson in art history, because it really is. You're seeing people work at the highest level of their skill, making something that's at their craft. Yeah. At making something that's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think the whole, listen, it's just a unique piece of property. To think that this is the clubhouse per se is just an unbelievable thing. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like a 2-bedroom house. Yeah. Like that's really what I kept referring to it as that day. Like this, at the end of the day, is really just a 2-bedroom house, even though it's not a house.
And it is.
But it is.
Yeah, and it is. It's a 2-bedroom house that has
everything.
It has a dining room. It has a sitting room. It had a the locker room now is currently where like the workout studio was. There was like Pilates and yoga and like all those kind of things. And then there was like the kitchen area, and then there was like I said before, there was like a room for the dogs to live in. Like it was.
The kitchen has their own garden outside, right, that even the chefs couldn't believe that they could walk out the back door and they have their own garden where they can grab things, use them for that meal that they're cooking. Like it was one of those things that you think, like, we live in 2024 now. It's like, all right, you have that, like everybody had, but 1970, that thought was never there for Mrs. Johnson to kind of see that vision is unfreaking believable. Yeah, it truly is.
It really, it's and not only that, but the vision of bringing something that looks like that to the United States. Our country's less than 250 years old, right? World War I, Revolutionary War, 1776. It's not that old. And this, I'm telling you, this castle looks like, or this house looks like a castle in Poland that was built in 12 or 1300. I mean, it's truly a unique looking building architecture in this country. And I don't know how many other buildings literally in our country look like that, because it's not an American style. It's very, very castle European looking building. Yeah. That's a 2-bedroom house.
Yeah. I kind of did some research real quick that Woody Johnson is the great grandson of Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. That's their connection to Woody Johnson that we all know, on the New York Jets.
Ambassador, as he's just wanted to be referred to as,
he's the great
owner of the Jets. Okay.
Hey, listeners, are you ready for an unforgettable experience? TixForGood.org is giving you the chance to win 2 weekend passes to the 2025 Masters Golf Tournament. That's right. This is your chance to be a part of golf history at one of the most iconic sporting events in the world. All you have to do to enter is head to TixForGood.org and make a donation to one of over 300 amazing nonprofits listed. Pick your cause, make your impact, and you're automatically entered. It's really that simple. And a huge thank you to their incredible sponsors, David Scales at State Farm, Prelude Solutions, Goated Putters, and Slam Sunscreen, supporting causes that make a difference. Don't miss out. Visit Tix for Good. That's TixForGood.org today. Make a donation, and you could be headed to Augusta for the 2025 Masters. Best of luck to all.
So let's keep going, Mike. So we see the archway, right? There's the circle driveway. You walk in the front door, and then bam, right in front of you, architecture happens. Because there is a floating staircase in front of you that has nothing holding it together on the back. It's like perfectly balanced. I'm not exactly sure the architectural terms or anything like that, but I know that the staircase is floating in the middle of a room, and it brings you up the stairs and again to this 2-bedroom house, which is Mr. Johnson's room on the left, Mrs. Johnson's room on the right, and then on the left it became Prince Albert's room. I believe it was Prince Albert, the Prince of Monaco. Monaco became his room on the left. So like this is so grand, so ornate, so magnificent that it's really incredible. But before we get upstairs, Mike, let's stay downstairs. So you go to the right, and there's this beautiful, like, kind of sitting room with, again, we could talk about the fireplace, all hand-done marble around the fireplace, all hand-chiseled, and the paintings are beautiful. And then you keep going, and you have the locker room. The men's locker room is down these stairs. You keep going down the hallway. It's down the stairs. If you don't go down the stairs and you make a right, you get the women's locker room, which was guest bedrooms that they turned into the locker room. Really, really cool situation there. Again, Mrs. Johnson designed it to meet all of these different specs that they've now changed into a locker room. But I think they did a really great job of keeping that locker room and making it fit into the room that it would have been, right? Like there's like the women's locker room is basically like 3 rooms, all kind of connected, but they've done a great job. And then you go into the pro shop, and the pro shop is a brick wall, right? And there's a roof on top of it. And the brick wall was originally there because this was like the rose garden. So all they did was put a top on it. It was really pretty amazing. If you go in that front door, you got the staircase in front. You go to the left, you got this amazing, and Mike, this is where we spent most of our time, right on the left-hand side here. The most unique room ever, and possibly the best cigar room known to mankind. They call it the Oak Room, and there's all these beautiful couches and what's the word I'm looking like leather couches, leather sofas, bookshelves all over. Again, the fireplace that's in there is just magnificent. I looked in the bookshelf, right? Books from forever ago, right? I'm pretty sure there was this original set of Charles Dickens collection, right? Oliver Twist, Great Adventure, Great Escape. I don't know words or English, but something like that. I mean, just it was beautiful. It was old. Like the books that they had in there were clearly not like she didn't just recently. And I'd even say this: they haven't been in there since 1970. These are printed 100+ years ago and are just in this now museum. And then you keep going down, and you get an option where you can go left or right out of the Oak Room. Come out and you keep going down the hallway. You can go left, And that was the dining room. That was there was like a sitting room, again, beautiful, hand done, hand carved fireplace. But you go to the right, and to the right there was this circular, 2-level, all glass enclosed room, and that's where they ate their breakfast, on the downstairs floor of that beautiful little rotunda there. And that's where the Johnsons always had their breakfast, inside, enclosed, but beautiful view of the gardens, the koi pond, the vastness of their property. And then Mike and I went outside. We kind of explored the grounds there. You could kind of see the garden that Mike mentioned with the that the chefs use there, their vegetable garden, their herb garden. Like I said, the koi ponds over there. Right now, you can kind of keep going, and you see the 18th green there. They got some chairs out there for people to watch. And then, if you look up above the breakfast room, is this room called the dog room. And it's off the bedroom of Mrs. Johnson's. And it's also the same thing. And when you watch the interview, that's where we did our interview with Jared. All glass enclosed little rotunda there. Beautiful view up top. I mean, I think the camera catches it behind us, but it is a stunning view. But it's where their dogs lived. And whenever they wanted to go out, they let them down these stairs. And again, the history of the stairs is they're really small. They are small stairs because these small dogs needed to be able to get down the stairs easily. So there's not a lot of space in height between them. Like, it's not the normal distance in height, or the length of the stairs is not. So like my foot would go all the way to the back, still hanging off. Now I know I'm a tall guy too. I had to duck to get under the second one. So it just kind of shows you how like this is just built for small dogs. So we did the interview up there. After the interview, we went out and played golf and explored the course. And Mike, before I get to the course, you got anything else about the house that I forgot?
No, well, I think the one thing I would just add in, and I think, if you're making me reminisce to one of what we said, I think after we left that day, one of a top 3 day for me of us doing this podcast. So like, I'm just reliving my glory listening to you as you're going through it. The one thing I will say is I'm not really sure if people understand that, like, when Mr. and Mrs. Johnson bought this property and they started to build this house, clubhouse, mansion, whatever you want to call it, there was no golf course. It wasn't like the golf course was attached to this and they ended up buying the surrounding land once it went, on the market per se. And the golf course didn't come along until 1998. So you have to think that this is almost nearly, 30 years of them, maybe 20, 25 years of them being there before a golf course comes along. And obviously that's the lure to get us in, because of the TPC, the golf course, all that. So the history was like the icing on the cake there because it just made things even sweeter. But I want to make sure that the audience understands, like, there was no golf course at that point when they bought this place and when they designed it and when they did all this until Gary Player came in and basically, designed the entire layout of the golf course.
And to Mike's point, you feel that on the golf course. Like, how many times were we out there and saying like there's people like mowing the grass, right? There's someone trimming some leaves there. Feel like they're just working on somebody's yard. Like, these are just the landscapers working on the yard. And it was really, it was a different feel than, like, we've seen people cutting the grass at golf courses. Never have I had this feel that these guys are just upkeeping this person's yard for their house. But it was really, really incredible. The house, the structure, again, nothing disappointed there. So then we go out to the driving range, all grass driving range. You go to the putting green, enormous putting green. And then we make our way to the first hole. And we go through, kind of wind through a little bit of the woods to get to the first hole. And the first hole is very unique because they also had built other houses on the property. And there's this one house, and Mike, I'm forgetting the name of it. Do you know the Do you remember the name?
I don't, but I know what you're. It's like something with a B.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was had a special way to say it too, because I think we mispronounced it.
I think I said the Broussard House, and that's not how it's, or that is how it's pronounced. Either way, there's another house on property. That's where Mrs. Johnson's daughter came, lived, raised their family, right? So Mr. and Mrs. Johnson were in the main house. This is like the house that they raise, she brings her family and raises their kids there. So that's just off to the left. Now they rent that out. You can, if you wanted to stay there, you can go stay there. People stay there for weddings, different things like that. Like that's where she said, like for weddings, like the groom usually stays over there, then comes over, and then upstairs
But
of the house.
The caveat with that is there's got to be some sort of connection to a membership.
Yes.
Whether you're within the TPC network or you're an actual member of TPC Jasna Polana.
Yeah.
I should say they prefer that.
They prefer that. And Mike, we forgot to talk about the upstairs. I got so caught up with the house, I forgot to talk about the upstairs of the house. Let's go back there real quick, then we'll get back to the golf course. So you go up these floating stairs, right? You got Mr. Johnson's room on the left. You got Mrs. Johnson's room on the right. You go into Mr. Johnson and then became Prince of Monaco's room. And it still has the bed there. And if you turn tight right, it's got his bathroom. And in this bathroom has this unbelievable piece of marble and the biggest bathtub I've ever seen. It's nearly a small swimming pool. And it's just incredible. It's an amazing feat. I don't even know how they got it upstairs, but it's an incredible, again, there's a sculpture there. It's hand dug. Everything is just unbelievable. But you come out of the bathroom, you go back through the bedroom, and there's Mr. Johnson's library. Now, Mr. Johnson was for various reasons, and we'll leave it like that. For various reasons, there's elevators through the house. And they bring it to the catacombs. They bring it at different levels. And then from the catacombs, you can kind of disperse to wherever through the house. And we did get to go see the catacombs. But for whatever reason, there's a various reason of them. There's elevators. Mr. Johnson has a secret elevator in this library. You go to this bookshelf unexpectedly, and you Mike, did you pull a latch or pull a book or?
I think I touched something. I felt like I was in like Scooby Doo, where they got the big bookshelf and you're like press this random button that I think is, if you look from a distance, it looks like a bookshelf. Books are hanging. Mm-hmm. Just move this little kick. I moved something, touch something, hit something. I don't know. And magically the whole wall comes directly into my face. And I'm like, whoa, where are we? Where are we?
And then right into the elevator, and the elevator would bring you, downstairs. And again, there's a number of reasons that they would have those elevators there and bring it, and then you could disperse. You take this tiny, small elevator. Mike and I got very cozy in one of them. We had to cuddle each other so softly in order to get both of us in there, because it's a small, tight space.
Tight squeeze, yeah.
Yeah. So then we get up there, and then that's that's the whole house there. We didn't get to go see Mrs. Johnson's side. They don't allow anybody on that side, but it was really cool to see kind of what it would look like, right? So then we get to the golf course, right? We get to the first tee. The house there is on the left, and you're just like, okay, this house, this castle, this whatever you want to call it,
Grand mansion.
Yeah. Is going to overtake. The golf course is not going to be very nice because it's going to be the main property is the house, right? No. The golf course is exceptional. The golf course is terrific. It is well maintained. It is well designed. It is in exceptional condition. I mean, it is amazing. And you see that right on the first hole, where there's not a blade of grass out of place. And you have to play golf. You can't just slap it out there like one of us did. You got to hit a good high draw to get it in the middle of the fairway, which one of us did. I won't tell you who, but you could probably take a guess. And you got to work your way around. It's a legit championship golf course. Like Mike said, Gary Player designed, so it's a I mean, if you don't know who Gary Player is, I don't know why you're listening to us. But he knows, he's designed maybe hundreds of golf courses around the world. Fantastic golf play. I mean, World Golf Hall of fame, arguably top 10 golfer of all time. I mean, this is a well-designed, fantastic golf course that's kept in pristine condition. And again, you'd think like, okay, let's go to the property and the house is going to be the main attraction and the golf course is just going to be okay. But the house will lift up the golf course. That's not the case. The golf course is really, really good. And finish the first hole. That's nice. You get to the second hole. And I'm betting that might be the best par 3 in New Jersey.
Wow.
I think it's that good. Bold but I think it's that good. I absolutely loved it. It was beautiful. It was aesthetically pleasing. It kind of like tiers down, so there's different levels. You're hitting downward to a green, so it's a tough golf shot. You gotta play golf on that golf shot. You have to hit it where the pin is, because you could hit the fat part of the green, and where the pin was for us, it was tucked back left behind a bunker. I'm sorry, back right behind a bunker. And if you left it short left, you got over the river and through the woods is how you got to go. There's a little stream that goes in front. I mean, it is a golf hole. And if it's not the best par 3 in New Jersey, it's on that list of top 5. It was a stunningly beautiful, amazing, artistically driven, well architected golf hole.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think me and you probably could go hole by hole and talk about this entire place and be just like, right. wow. But I to continue your little history lesson too about the golf, the way you did with the whole place, the golf course did host what used to be like the Match. Like we all watch like the Match now on TNT. Well, it used to be called the Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. And when the course opened in 98, they had their first one there in 1999, which I remember as a kid, I used to watch some of these things, that these old things would pop up. They'd find a different golf course. And Tom Watson played Hale Irwin right there, 1999, right after a year opened at TPC Jasna Polana. So that hosted that event. Back in the early 2000s, it also hosted a senior PGA Tour golf tournament. So this place has what it takes to host tournaments on this level. And I think that's part of what comes with being a TPC course is not only the conditions of what the course is, but also that mystique. Like, what does actually that mean? Like, we hear TPC, but man, oh man. Number 2, I think one of the things that you and I spoke about on the ride there were a couple featured holes of that place. And number 2 was the one that they talked about along with number 18 all the time.
Yeah. It pretty much was. And like I said, I'll stand by it. I think 2 was a 2. I'd have to think a little bit more about it, Mike, but honestly, I don't know of a better par 3 that we played this year than number 2 at Jasna Polana. I think it was that good.
Yeah, I'd have to think of some. I'll be honest. I still think, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 hole at Ballyowen. The par 3 over the water is still a great hole with the clubhouse there on the right-hand side. All carry over water. That's another good par 3.
It is, yeah.
So there's definitely really ones that we could go back and forth about. But
that might be for another episode.
Yeah, to your point, that the golf course being this place in Princeton that I never thought gets a lot of play was in unbelievable shape. It was firm. It was fast. The greens were rolling so true. And I can't tell you how many people that I texted on my way there. Have you ever played there? Hey, can you give me something about this place? So many people, even within the state of New Jersey, haven't played there. So for us, not only was it a history lesson, but I think this could turn into an educational one as well.
Right. I mean, even you go through it, Mike. I don't want to go hole by hole because that would take us forever. But you go on to, you go through 2, you cross the driveway, and you got this wonderful par 5. But again, I'm going to go to the history. You have this house there. It's run down, but was very clearly like a servant's quarters, or like people that worked on the property. That was their house. And we're talking about a place in New Jersey. It's not like, again, it's not like this house is from the 1700s, right? It's not a plantation in the South. It's not like New Jersey. There weren't slave quarters living there. This is a large Victorian style house where the housekeepers lived. Now it's run down, but I think it just even though you're on the golf course, it gives you that bit of history that you might have kind of forgotten when checking into the clubhouse, that like, oh wow, this is where they would have lived, and then they would have worked in the main house. And like thinking about, okay, it's a golf course now, but what did it look like going back there? What was there? Was there a road? How did they get there? Did they walk? What is that like? And man, I'll tell you, it just, there's so much history there, and it just gives you the feeling that it's from hundreds of years ago, and it's from less than 50 years ago.
Yeah, there's no doubt that
years ago.
number 2 and 3 going back to back there were 2 of the holes in the front nine that just like hit. You could tell that when you're talking featured holes on the golf course on the front nine, no doubt it was those 2. And I kept thinking, you and I were talking about it. Not only is the golf course not played a ton by a lot of people, but just the shape of it was so good that there weren't many issues anywhere. I can't even think of anything like, oh, the bunkers weren't raked, the greens weren't rolled. Like everything you would have thought was like a place that got thousands and thousands of rounds in
pitch
on
marks
a week
in the green, or divots in the, like a landing zone of a par 4. Like, no, there's
nothing. And I think the best holes, though, I know you talked about 2 being one of the best par 3s. 16, 17, 18 coming in are such a good stretch of finishing holes.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that, like, if you watch yesterday, you saw the 16th hole for me. You didn't get to see the 17th hole, the par 3, but that's another great par 3 if you want to talk about great par 3s. And then
you guys see it in the video. It's to the right. It's over the water, so it's coming back. So Mike's 16th hole kind of, I don't want to say dog legs, but it kind of bends a little bit to the left. The water's on the right, and then you finish on the green, and you kind of go over a little bit, and now the 17th is a par 3 coming back over the water.
Yeah,
and it's
great par 3.
Great par. It is, with a bunker that's just perfectly placed, and just a terrific par 3. Beautiful.
And then tomorrow you'll see the 18th hole.
Yeah. And coming back, and again, if you look at the drive over on the left, you can kind of see a little bit of the 17th hole. So you kind of put 17 together there. But yeah, just 3 of the best finishing holes that we've seen. They're really good aesthetically. They're really good architecturally, and it's one of those where like you think your round's finished, and it's like, okay, 16, 17, 18, like, oh guys, this was a nice day, and it was a really nice day. But if you take your foot off the gas, you're going to be in trouble, because you're going to plunk one in the water. You can plunk one in the water again on 17. You could hit one way left, way right on 18. You could leave it in there's a little creek that runs in front of the green. Like if you try going for it in 2, you could leave it in there. Like if you don't stay focused, you're going to ruin your round on those 3 holes if you have a good one going.
Yeah, what a day. What a day. I mean, that's a spot that I would love to go back and play again, just to see it. Like, obviously the tour is the icing on the cake, and the history of the place is unreal. But I just thought the golf course was so underrated that even when we got done, I had to text Steve Hennessy at the Golf Digest and say, hey, listen, I don't know when the rankings officially come out, and I don't know if there's raters that the course is even open to seeing, but have you ever played this place? And we had a nice conversation about it. And I think what I left with that conversation was the history of the mansion was a larger story than the golf course.
And Arguably, it is, but I don't want to make it sound like we're taking away from the golf
No,
course,
you
because
have
I think the
two A
golf course,
pluses.
yeah,
You
you
have two A
do, you
pluses.
really do. And right, you know what you have? You have two A pluses, and one of them is an A plus plus.
Yeah, I know.
That just
Yeah,
happens to be what it is.
yeah, it's
It
so
takes
good.
nothing away from it. It's really really good. I also, Mike, I didn't play well there, and as I said, I think it was tough for me to transition from nerding out over the history of the place, doing all the work that we do before, setting up the cameras and videotape and running through, doing all that kind of stuff, than it was to transition to like, okay, now I need to go golf. And like, not that I spent a lot of time usually hitting balls, but like I hit about 4 golf balls. I rolled 2 putts, and then we went to the first tee. So like it was really tough to turn off that excitement from doing the thing inside and all the history and doing all that sort of thing, to then go play golf. And I would love to play it again without all that. Now knowing the course a little bit, being able to, honestly, I'd say appreciate the golf course just a little bit more than I could doing all that stuff. And I don't want to make it sound like that's like making an excuse or whatever. Like I didn't play good golf, and I could probably play bad golf even with a good warm up. But I mean, like, we're still talking about the castle on like the 8th hole, so it was like almost distracting from us.
It wasn't distracting for one person, but I mean, we can see,
Oh, it was
but
distracting for one person.
listen, I think at the end,
Mike played great. In case you guys are wondering, Mike was as on fire as I've ever seen him play golf.
Appreciate the compliment.
He was on 59 watch for a little while.
Well, yeah, when you start off how I started, I mean, birdie, 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 3 holes right off the bat. I mean, that's kind of like, you can't ask for a better start than that. I was ready to go home and just say, see you later. I did my job. But I think at the end of the day, no matter what, like, I think when you and I go back and think about that entire day from beginning to end, it will go down, I think, as one of the top 3 days that we probably may ever have in doing this podcast. And I know sometimes the work behind the scenes can be a lot in terms of organizing, scheduling, getting it all done, talking with the people and explaining who we are. But I think this is just another example for people out there listening that, hey, listen, at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is highlight, talk, play, feature all things golfing in the Garden State.
Absolutely. I really do as well. Mike, I don't, we can stop there. I'm good. You got anything more for Jasna Polana?
No, except this.
Other
I guess
than,
you get the opportunity to go play.
Yeah.
If someone calls you up about playing, and I know we ask the guests this a lot, and I'll tell you this firsthand, this is a no-brainer. You need to go experience it. And the only thing I will say is make sure your phone is fully charged, because it will be out nonstop, just like it is for me when you're out there playing there.
It absolutely will be. It's for sure a drop everything and go play. It was, again, one of the coolest things I've experienced in my life, not just with the podcast. So really, really awesome. Last time, shout out to Michael, Heather, and Jared. Thank you so much for having us out there. It was really an amazing experience. Hopefully you'll have us back. So with that, stay tuned Thursday for our interview with Jared. We continue talking about Jasna Polana and how he got there, a little bit of his background, a little more history, and see some great views from there. Till then, cheers.